Hello everyone, Stormer One here. Today we'll be talking about a cluster of strong severe thunderstorms that is ongoing in western Kentucky that's going to be moving to the northeast and east as the day goes on this afternoon. We'll also talk a little bit about Derby Day, which is tomorrow. We're going to get started with what's going on out there right now. We actually have a severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect for most of central and even parts of eastern Kentucky out there. And the severe thunderstorm watch also includes these areas in here as well. This is the newest watch that just came out. Sorry about the background noise. That is my dog back there doing something. But anyway, conditions are favorable for scatter hail up to ping pong size. Scatter gusts up to 70 miles an hour is likely. And there's not much of a tornado risk for today. There's a very low chance for a quick spin up tornado out there. And if we actually look at radar right now, you do see that little cluster of some strong severe thunderstorms that is ongoing in western Kentucky. And we do have a few warnings that are out there. We got some severe thunderstorms that's likely ongoing northwest of Bowling Green. And some of these storms are probably containing some large hail. You see those pink areas in some of these storms. That's likely containing some hail in there. And it is warned for hail up the size of golf balls right now. So some big time hail in some of these storms out there right now. Or possibly some big time hail. If we go to some of the other storms farther up to the north, up towards Owensboro, where we also got more storms. The main thread with these would be damage winds, but there can also be some large hail potentially within some of these storms as well. And if we actually look into velocity here and kind of check out these winds here, you can kind of see here where you got some strong winds aloft that could potentially get mixed down towards the surface out there as well. And then if we look at another one, which would be a vertically integrated liquid, you can kind of see here where some of your hail producers are. And anytime when you see colors that are white, that's a lot of liquid going up in the updraft, and that's a good indicator that some hail is ongoing within some of these storms out there. If I play this in motion here, you can see there some of that large hail is heading towards the Woodbury area right now. And there can also be some more hail south of Owensboro out there as well. So then again, strong to damage winds and large hail are the main threats as of right now. And this is the SPC outlook. We do have an enhanced risk for severe weather across a good chunk of central and eastern Kentucky. Once again, the tornado risk is very low, got a 2% chance, but the main player is going to be damaging straight line winds. And that's a wind-driven enhanced risk, and also large hail is in play as well. You got 15% chance of seeing large hail. In day 2, which is tomorrow, got a marginal risk across southeastern Kentucky with the potential for a couple of strong thunderstorms for Derby Day. Primarily, I would say probably the eastern half of the state has a chance to see some strong thunderstorms tomorrow. And here's a look at the Kentucky Methodist Station's temperatures right now out ahead of those storms. It's pretty mild. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 70s. We even got an 80-degree reading down in Cumberland County, and this is where we have an unstable atmosphere. Now, in terms of dew points low to mid 60s. Not bad for dew points, but we can also start to see the cold pool taking shape here. Anytime when we see dew points kind of get in the upper 50s, that's when we start to see the cold pool kind of taking effect. If you don't know what a cold pool is, it's an area where you get pretty cold air behind thunderstorms. And sometimes the cold pool can help enhance thunderstorms out ahead of the cold pool out there. So some cold pooling is starting to happen out there, which could be a sign that those storms may get a little better organized here over the next hour. In terms of the current winds, we actually got a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust out of McLean County right now, but peak wind gusts so far overall have been pretty tamed. Wind gusts been generally 35 to upwards of 50 miles an hour. At least recorded winds anyway. It doesn't necessarily mean that the severe wind gusts are not there, It's possible some of those severe wind gusts missed the Mesonet stations. Um, but so far, these storms have had history producing strong winds. We even had a warning for 70 mph winds near Murray, what some people have said has caused some damage out there. So some of these storms do have a history of producing some damage winds, but it seems like the dominant threat for right now seems to be large hail, which is kind of out ahead of the main cluster of showers and storms as of right now. If we look at satellite here, you can see your thunderstorms ongoing in western Kentucky right here. Out ahead of it, got quite a cumulus field that is out across central and even eastern Kentucky here, where we're starting to see some showers and even some thunderstorms developing out there. And conditions do favor strong severe storms even out ahead of that cluster as well. And some of these storms can contain strong winds and even some large hail out there. And if we actually check out the current environment here, instability values have back off a little bit, but we did max out at 3,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE earlier this afternoon. Now it's down to 2,500 joules per kilogram of surface-based CAPE here, but that's still going to be enough to support severe weather. If I get a SKU-T out there in south central Kentucky, you can see here it's a pretty thick CAPE profile, which could be supportive for some large hail producers with some of these storms. And you can also get some strong updrafts as well. And the point values table shows surface-based CAPE is about 2,600. Mixed layer CAPE is getting close to 2,000 joules per kilogram. D-CAPE is about 700. Ideally, 800 would be favorable for damage winds, but that's not far off. And that's not far off at all. But you will notice here by your wind shear parameters here, you can kind of see here the numbers are quite low here. And that's one problem with this setup here, is that the wind shear parameters are not that impressive here. The better wind energy is actually still off to the southwest, and it's going to be interesting to see if that more favorable wind energy actually catches up with these storms, because the forecast from last night is that these storms out here that are ongoing in western Tennessee and now entering western Kentucky, those storms were supposed to be the main show today. Those were the storms that were going to bring problems. But the models completely missed on these storms out ahead of it. We had a cluster of storms that was ongoing in northeastern Arkansas, and those storms have pretty much taken over at this point. So it's not been a very good forecast so far today. It's been pretty complicated, and it's quite uncertain of how well these storms here are going to do, especially with the more favorable winds. If I could get that off the screen, there we go, and look at the upper air, some of the upper air dynamics. If you look at a 500 millbar winds, you can see those more favorable winds are within these thunderstorms out here that was supposed to be the main show. And you can see the other storms, they're just out ahead of it. Now, if those winds can eventually catch up with these storms, you'll probably notice an uptick of intensity out there. So we'll have to wait and see if these winds here can actually catch up with these, because if it doesn't, then these storms out here will probably be a little bit more tamed. But you'll still occasionally see some severe thunderstorm warnings out of it regardless of that. So either way, I still expect more warnings to come out of these storms out there. And don't think there's much of anything else to look at. I can actually look into mid-level lap rates. This is another factor too. The lap rates are pretty favorable. Mid-level lap rates up to a 7 is extremely favorable for stronger updrafts. You get a stronger elevated mix layer, so that could be more favorable for large hail producers. And if I were to go to those near surface-based lap rates, the low-level lap rates, you can see those numbers are up as high as an 8 or even 8.5. And those would be favorable for some damage of wind gusts out there. Makes the storms easy to transport those higher winds in the upper levels down towards the surface. So yeah, conditions are favorable for damage winds and large hail out there. but then again, tornado risk is very low. And when we're talking about wind shear, you can see the more favorable wind shear parameters are farther back to the west behind these storms. Now, if these storms were to be within this more favorable wind shear, that would be more organized right now. They would be. But right now, they're just running just out ahead of it. If these favorable wind parameters can catch up, then I think we're going to see an uptick on the intensity of these thunderstorms, and the chance for more widespread severe weather will probably go up. And like I was saying earlier, the models been handling this stuff like crap. It really has. And it's very disappointing to see that. One of the better models here is this one right here, but even this one here has not been doing very well. It really hasn't with these storms here. So I'm not really going to bother much, going into models for later this afternoon just because they've just been awful. They've been awful. But I want to kind of look into more for Derby Day here for tomorrow. But actually, you know what? Let's take it back a step a little bit here. Let's go back to radar. Let me tell you guys what I think is going to happen here. So, what I think is going to happen here is that these storms out here, you're probably going to see them kind of pulse up every now and then. And when they do pulse up, they'll probably be strong to severe. Any storm that forms out ahead of it has potential to produce some large hail, which you've seen one of those warnings was warned for golf ball sized hail. But when we get a more organized line of storms, which is something we don't really see right now, then the damage wind threat will go up. The atmosphere is a little more unstable out ahead of us, so it would be interesting to see how this band of some strong severe thunderstorms will go. But right now it looks a little bit messy and not very organized as of right now. But I do think these storms here, I think they're going to continue to survive. They'll pulse up every now and then, and I think it should keep the second wave back here much more tamed here, which I think these storms back here are going to be more elevated anyway. So you may see some small hail occasionally with these storms back here. But area people watching from central Kentucky, I'll still be weather aware out there. If you are out in Churchill Downs in Louisville, be prepared for a raincoat, because I think these storms will make it to Churchill Downs later this afternoon. So definitely be ready for potentially some severe weather entering the Louisville area in about 2 hours or so. So there's today out of the way. Let's move on to Derby Day, which is tomorrow. There is possibility that we may clear up maybe early in the day, but you can start to see some showers starting to move in here, and eventually by Saturday afternoon, now we start to get some showers and even some thunderstorms coming in here. And unfortunately, Derby Day is just not looking to be the greatest day, where we can have some periods and some showers and thunderstorms. It's not going to rain all day long. You will have a little bit of dry time, but it's going to be wet. And sure enough, that track at Churchill Downs, this could be pretty wet for tomorrow here. And this is part of an upper level low that's going to be cut off here for a while. So this upper level low that is out here, let me do a little better job. An upper level low that's sitting out here, it's going to be cut off from the main jet stream here. So what's going to happen here is that something that's called an omega block, where you have a cutoff low in the eastern U.S., another cutoff low in the west, and in between you get a big ridge of high pressure, which would be over the central U.S. And that's an omega block. And sometimes these omega block patterns can last for a pretty good duration. For us in Kentucky here, could be talking about daily storm chances, or I should say just rain chances in general, over the next few days. Now, rain chances are going to be lower early next week compared to this weekend. You can see here as you go into Sunday, some showers, maybe some more thunderstorms again start to show up out there. And you see how that cutoff low even lingers even into Monday as well. And one thing that's going to be interesting here, and we may see some cold air funnels that may show up out there. And cold air funnels, they mainly develop underneath upper level lows like this one. And most of the time, and it will look like a funnel cloud, like a tornado is about to happen, but most of the time, like 90% of the time, they do not touch down. If they do touch down, they only cause minor damage. So you may see a cold air funnel or two, perhaps maybe tomorrow, and I think especially Sunday out there, and possibly Monday as well. And in terms of the temperatures here, high temperatures for tomorrow, I think most of us is going to stay in the 60s. If you get more sunshine, or I should say more of a break in the action, you may get close to 70. But I think most of us stay in the 60s tomorrow. Probably a little bit warmer for Sunday. Mid to upper 60s to maybe in the low 70s if you get more dry time out there as well. And in terms of this upper level low, we can check out the European Mall real quick. Of how long this upper level low can stick around here. And I do think this upper level low is going to get out of here at least by early next week. So the European Mall, there's your upper level low Sunday morning. Here's Monday. And then it finally gets out of here by Tuesday. So at least the indicator European Mall will be out of here by later today on Tuesday before another system starts to move in. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Guys, like this video, hit that like button. If you really like my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys get any questions, put a comment section down below. I arrange you guys questions. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye and have a good day.